Hello and welcome to the Not Too Shabby YouTube channel. My name is Lynn, or LV Handcrafted, here on YouTube, and today I thought I would craft with my scraps. I have been crafting a lot with this month's paper pad club and stamp and die of the month, and so I've got a lot of pieces left over from those previous projects, which you may have already seen if you watch my videos on my channel. I've got some pieces that are from the Easy Wonder die because when I crafted with it, I made a sheet load card using the wedge shape that is part of Easy Wonder die number 2. So I've got a lot of leftover pieces, and I thought I would pick through some of them and see what I might want to use for a card today. And I will be making 2 cards. I actually still have quite a lot of scraps left over even after finishing 2 cards. So I'll continue to craft through this scrap pile because there's no chance I'm throwing any of this away because the papers are just too gorgeous. It's the Paper Pad Club of the month, and there are 2 paper pads as always as part of the club, and one of them, if you want, you can get the coordinating ephemera pack too. The 2 paper pads are really beautifully coordinated. The one here that I've cut with my Easy Wonder die is Sunflower Fields. Lots of different lovely prints and a lot of just sort of your basic patterns like stripes and plaids and repeat patterns that I think are really great to pair with some of the more busier floral prints. So I love that because it makes it really easy to mix, multiple pattern papers. But thankfully, there's also the Sunflower Watercolors paper pad, which is part of the this month's Paper Pad Club, because it's got perfectly coordinated sort of very soft watercolor backgrounds, which you can use. The color palette is perfect and coordinates with the Sunflower Fields paper pad really, really well. But you really can use these for anything because they aren't themed. They're just like a really nice sort of soft watercolor background. So I really love how versatile that set is, and at the same time how well it coordinates with this one. So the beauty of having both of these together is that the watercolors paper pad, because I feel like they're more of a like a standard that you could maybe replace some solid color cardstock with one of these instead. It does help you to really stretch all of your Sunflower Fields papers because those designs are really beautiful, even the ones that are just, stripes or plaids or those small repeat patterns. So I feel like you can make every print from Sunflower Fields the star of a card by sort of combining it with the Sunflower Watercolors papers. And you can see an example of one of the watercolor prints on what's going to be my second card. So that's really a fabulous, or actually I think that's just the background of this card actually. So it's great to be able to use these as substitutes for just plain solid color cardstock. For one, you're going to be guaranteed that it's a perfect match with the color palette of the pattern papers, but also it's more interesting than just plain cardstock. So in the center of my aperture here, right on a separate oval piece, I stamped and white heat embossed the sunflower from the stamp and die of the month, which has 3 gorgeous sunflower blooms, and really, really love that they're so large. I mean, they really can be a focal image in and of themselves. So I have made that the star of my card, and the coordinating dies are available. They not only cut out your 3 flowers, but the sentiments that are part of the stamp set also have coordinating dies, which I've really grown to appreciate. I don't think that I use them very much, but since I've been seeing them included more in the Stamp and Die of the Month, and some of other brands have started to do it more and more too, I found it really a nice look to have that sort of close cut all the way around the sentiment. And what I did was I actually used the coordinating die and I cut it a second time to have a little bit of a drop shadow behind the sentiment. Now, because I'm using the exact same die that I used to cut out the sentiment, it's not a bubble layer. It doesn't go all the way around, but you can kind of offset how you glue it, and it can help to add that little bit of a drop shadow. So now we're into my second card, and again, I've got a rather large leftover piece of one of the Sunflower Watercolors papers that I crafted with earlier. And so I'm going to pair that with, I love this print. It's actually got a mix of a really lovely plaid, which you do get that plaid print, or at least something very similar to it as a separate design. It's kind of cool because it's almost like two designs that have been overlaid onto one another. Like there's the sunflowers, and then it's almost like that got sort of combined or merged onto the plaids. And there's another print that's kind of similar to that as well with the yellow stripes. So I really like that. It's kind of neat to have the mix of the two patterns. And so I've got this card, and it's going to be pretty quick to craft this one. I'm gonna use some ephemera on it. But whenever I have two pattern papers that kind of butt up against one another, I do love adding one of these Love from Lizzie's pinstripe stickers as a little bit of a border to separate the two. I find it useful to really clearly define that edge, and the Love from Lizzie's pinstripe stickers are great because they actually come in 3 different widths, so you can choose whichever kind of matches the aesthetic you're going for that you'd like. But if you don't have those pinstripe stickers, you could always, and I've done this on other cards too, I've also just cut a really thin strip from solid color cardstock and used that as well. It just helps to have a nice border. To my eyes, that's a little bit more pleasing than just having the two pattern papers butt up against each other. So that's the start of my background. Now, the ephemera pack this month, oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. And the thing that I did not realize when I first opened it, but quickly came to the realization of, is that there's only one of each of the ephemera pieces. So if you're a fan and you like the ephemera, it's going to be great because it's going to stretch so far, because all of the pieces, I feel, are large enough that, well, I would say probably 95% of the pieces are large enough that you really only need the one. You could definitely collage up a couple and create some more full sort of focal image. But if you only wanted to use one piece of ephemera, I feel like one piece would definitely carry the day. So this ephemera pack is really going to stretch pretty far in your card making. But if you're like me and you like having multiples, you might want to consider picking up a second ephemera pack, because there is only one unique, die cut piece for each piece of ephemera. Unlike in previous ephemera packs where sometimes you'll get multiples, that's not going to be the case this time around. And there are some really gorgeous ones. In particular, some of my favorite ones are the 2 old grannies. I thought they were really adorable. The little girl is really adorable as well. The puppy is super cute. So there are some really, really adorable ephemera pieces, and it's kind of sad that you only get the one. So this is definitely a pack where I if you're liking the theme of it, I would definitely consider picking up a second pack. Now, I'm having a hard time picking a color brown to match the ephemera pieces and the background papers that I've already chosen. I feel like I was having a very Goldilocks moment where some of the browns felt too dark and some felt too light. And what I was aiming for is I wanted to have a foundation to build my focal image on top of. And I knew I wasn't really going to be collaging a lot of different die cut elements. I was really just planning on using one of the larger ones, one of either the truck, which I thought was kind of cute, or the bicycle. And I think there's a couple different bicycles in this pack, but that was the initial thinking. And so I wanted to have something as a backdrop to really create a stage, to kind of create that foundation to build on top of. But at the end of the day, I went with this particular ephemera piece, which is the sunflowers, but shaped in a heart. I thought that was really cute. So I'm going to use that instead of the trucks, because I feel like it sort of, for the size circle that I went with, it kind of filled that really nicely. And so I just paired it with a sentiment, thankful for you, which I think I also used on my first card, because I feel like I can never have enough thank you cards on hand. So that's generally the sentiment I gravitate to when I'm crafting. And here's that first card that I use. So still lots and lots of scraps left over. So I'll continue crafting through my scraps and I'll be sharing those to my Instagram. Thanks so much for catching this video. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss new content that gets posted to Not Too Shabby. Thanks again, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.